afternoon again, and welcome to our next episode of the Quick Wellness News Nugget. I'm Dr. Keith Henry, I'm a naturopathic doctor, and we have an interesting health nugget coming to you today from the website naturalhealth365.com. And I take an article, if you haven't been here before, that has come out within the last week, sometime the same day, and I give my perspective and my analysis as a naturopathic doctor. This article on the screen came out, as you can see, exactly 7 days ago, April 17, 2021, and it's entitled Low Vitamin D Levels Reveal Risk of a Heart Attack and Stroke. And we have a very high death level of people dying from cardiovascular issues, strokes, heart attacks, etc. So it's very important. It's a very interesting and insightful article. The article is by Dana Smith, a staff writer. It starts off by pointing out that a recent study shows strong evidence of a link between lack of vitamin D and poor cardiovascular health. And vitamin D, although it's called a vitamin, is actually a hormone, a prohormone, but it is called a vitamin essentially, but technically it's a prohormone. The author goes on to point out how the study results show that low vitamin D levels have been linked with a higher risk of having a heart attack, a stroke, or heart failure, notwithstanding other health issues. Again, vitamin D plays a critical role in many of the processes that goes on in your body, and to be deficient in it can cause, as we're seeing here, significant issues. The author says the results come from an innovative study conducted by the Intermountain Medical Center Heart Institute of Salt Lake City. The authors presented the study findings at the American College of Cardiology scientific sessions in Chicago. And there's an editor's note in the article pointing out how heart disease now kills 31% of all people worldwide, and the root causes are not what you think, which is basically a little advertisement there. But we're not going to go with that because we try and keep these quick health news nuggets from 5 to 7 minutes. So it says avoid low vitamin D levels to protect your heart. In the article, the author says higher risk of stroke, heart issues, and cardiac events seem to correlate with low levels of a specific vitamin D component, as well as deficient overall levels. The researchers found that with low vitamin D levels in both bioavailable and total amounts had more cardiovascular health challenges. Again, the bioavailability of a nutrient basically means the ability of the body to assimilate it into your blood cells, into your blood, etc. And they found in this study that both general amounts as well as bioavailable amounts presented health issues health challenges for people. The study's lead researcher, epidemiologist Dr. Hattie May, and her colleagues, the article says, studied vitamin D levels in 4,200 older adults. Around 70% of the participants showed coronary artery disease, and a quarter had diabetes. The research team looked at the levels of vitamin D elements. The research team looked at levels of vitamin D elements produced during metabolism to find connections to future cardiac issues. By studying the unbound bioavailable vitamin D, they found that was the key, as only 10 to 15% of vitamin D can act during metabolism. However, both total vitamin D levels and bioavailable amounts were accurate in predicting the risk of heart issues down the road. So your levels of both bioavailable vitamin D as well as total vitamin D gave a pretty good idea of whether or not you can have, based upon this study, can have risk of having heart issues down the road. And this makes sense because so many people have cardiovascular issues. Now, of course, vitamin D is not the only thing that can lead to that. But it's one of the major things that this study found to be problematic when it comes to cardiovascular issues. The author goes on to point out further in the article that the study ultimately concluded that people with higher vitamin D levels had the lowest risk of heart attack, heart failure, stroke, and death. The author says further that the study underscores the importance of vitamin D to overall health throughout our lifetime. Other research has also shown how important vitamin D is to your memory, to your cognitive health, and avoiding Alzheimer's in older age as well. So a lot of issues that are coming up that people begin to experience as they get older actually are many times long-standing issues or long issues where the body was deficient in particular minerals. In this particular case, we see how vitamin D. There's been many studies on it, many studies. And as some of these studies, research studies has shown that it can be linked to memory problems, cognitive health overall, as well as Alzheimer's specifically. The author says further, persons already experiencing coronary health issues should consider having their vitamin D levels checked and take action if a lack of vitamin D is detected. Doing so could be crucial to cardiovascular and overall health. And this is true. Typically, when you get a blood profile, vitamin D is not generally included. You typically have to order that separately. There may be some tests now that are including it, but most of the time you have to order it separate from the basic blood profile. So you might want to look into that, doing that, just to see. Even if you're not having any health issues, it may be a good idea just to check to see where your vitamin D levels are, because you may be on the low end, or you may actually be low end, or not experiencing any symptoms of anything yet. Finally, it says the author says while vitamin D can be prescribed or taken in supplement form, one of the best ways to receive it is from the sun. It's great. It is one of the best ways to receive it is from the sun. Now, some people live in areas where they don't get as much sunlight throughout the year or during certain parts of the year as others. Those times it's going to be a great idea to take a high quality supplement. And now also, if you're taking a vitamin D supplement, just remember that you need to make sure that you eat copious amounts of fruits and vegetables. And also, if you don't, you need to supplement with the vitamin K combined with that vitamin D. But the easiest way to do it is to get the sunshine, plenty of sunshine, and especially if you're darker, Black people, Hispanic people, you're going to need a little bit more sunshine than a fair skinned or a Caucasian person to make sure your levels are kept up. And again, if you are deficient, you may need to, even if you are not getting enough sunshine, you may need to get out and take a supplement for a while to bring your levels up. Vitamin D is an extremely important supplement. Now the article goes into to recommend some areas, some sources of vitamin D. Some are not plant-based. Again, I am a plant-based naturopathic doctor, hence I always recommend getting it from sources that are not steeped or associated with eating animal products. But the article goes on to point out that some breakfast cereals contain vitamin D, etc., mushrooms, etc. But again, this is a very important vitamin. At the very end, the article, the author points out that most integrative healthcare providers see patients well below 30 nanograms per milliliter on a vitamin D test, and ideally it should be between 50 to 80. So bottom line, as I said earlier, it's a good idea to get a test done, a vitamin D test, just to know where your vitamin D levels are. Again, thank you for joining me on this episode of Quick Wellness News Nugget. Be sure to like, subscribe, share it with your friends and family. This is very important information. Until next time, take care and God bless.